Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing yet again another FUD article coming out, this time from the Wall Street Journal. Now, in fairness to the Wall Street Journal, I think in this case, they're just reporting on information that they're coming across. So, I don't want to put too much on them specifically. This has obviously been reported by, many different media outlets, news outlets. However, it is just to say that the way that the title of the article is framed is a bit misleading. Right? And I'll get into that in a minute. But before we do, be sure to subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell. That way you can be notified of all the newest content as soon as it drops. So with that, let's get into it. All right. So in this article, we see Tesla Autopilot's role in deadly vehicle crash is probed by safety regulators. Now, before we begin, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this title is a bit misleading, and obviously we'll go through the article and I'll explain my thoughts on that in a minute. But when you read this article, the first thing you see is Tesla Autopilot, right? And so now if you're one of many people who simply reads a headline and makes a complete judgment on it, that's that person's issue, understood, but we can't belittle the fact that it occurs at probably a higher scale than what we'd like to imagine. So with that, Tesla Autopilot's role in deadly vehicle crash, again, is a bit misleading because it's immediately saying that that Autopilot was at fault or was at least involved, right? So as we get into the article, wreck under investigation involves a Tesla Model S and left 3 people dead, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said. U.S. auto safety regulators have opened a special crash investigation into a fatal wreck involving a Tesla Inc. vehicle that has left 3 people dead. Fair enough. Sounds like it's true information. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration disclosed the probe Wednesday, identifying the vehicle as a 2022 Tesla Model S. It added the incident to a list of auto crashes it is investigating that are potentially linked to semi-autonomous driving features. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration disclosed the probe Wednesday, identifying the vehicle as a 2022 Tesla Model S. It added the incident to a list of auto crashes it is investigating that are potentially linked to semi-autonomous driving features. That is a key word, potentially. We'll see why in a minute. The regulatory agency has disclosed it is investigating more than 30 incidents in which a Tesla vehicle suspected to be using autopilot was involved in a serious crash. Some of the other Tesla vehicle crashes on the list also resulted in fatalities, NHTSA's records show. Now, I want to pause here for a minute, and I want you, the viewer, if you're reading this article, what is one of the first questions that comes to mind? For me, the first question that comes to mind is the vehicle is suspected to be using autopilot, right? Why was this vehicle suspected to be using autopilot? We have to read further, obviously, to gain a clearer picture. But right now, why is it being suspected to be using autopilot? Keep that question in mind. Tesla didn't immediately return a request for comment. The electric vehicle maker has long said that driving with autopilot engaged is safer than doing so without it. A NHTSA spokesperson Wednesday declined to comment further on the agency's investigation or confirm details of the incident that initiated the latest probe. This could otherwise be read as saying, we don't have any information about what happened other than the fact that they are investigating it. So, So to look at it from an objective point of view, right? A NHTSA spokesperson is declining to comment. This is important because we so often jump to conclusions and then we base the way that we move or the way that we react on those conclusions, whether they're true or false. Likely they tend to be false because we don't have all the facts in front of us before we rush to those judgments. So it's important that we take a second to slow down here, right? Earlier this month, police in Newport Beach, California responded to a fatal crash involving a 2022 Tesla Model S that struck a curb and rammed into construction equipment located on a road, a police department spokeswoman said. Officers arrived and discovered 3 deceased passengers in the vehicle, the spokeswoman said. 3 construction workers suffered minor non-life-threatening injuries and were treated at a nearby hospital, she added. The spokeswoman declined to comment on whether the autopilot was engaged. In recent years, automakers have rolled out a range of new automated driving features marketed to drivers as a way to ease the burden of operating a vehicle, particularly for long periods. Many of these so-called advanced driver assistance systems still require the driver to remain engaged, and ready to take over when needed, but they aren't tightly regulated in the US and vary widely depending on the manufacturer. Okay, so there we got some information. So first, we know that the spokeswoman declined to comment on whether autopilot was engaged or not. Next, we know that they require the driver to remain engaged, meaning that the driver is responsible for the vehicle, right? So anything that happens while the driver's responsible is on the driver, not on Tesla. It's not on the autopilot. Why would the autopilot feature be being investigated? How could the autopilot feature possibly be at fault if the driver is responsible? And if the driver was being responsible, they would have seen that an accident was about to occur. This is just common. This just seems to me like easy stuff. This is not even, you don't have to think critically about this. this just seems like the way it's supposed to be, common sense. You feel me? But you know what they say about common sense ain't so common. The newest NHTSA probe is the latest in the agency's effort to examine Tesla's Autopilot, a feature that the EV maker says is designed to help drivers with tasks such as steering and keeping a safe distance from other vehicles on the road. Tesla instructs drivers using the system to pay attention to the road and to keep their hands on the wheel. Last fall, the agency said it was opening a separate investigation into the system itself, citing nearly a dozen crashes involving Tesla vehicles that crashed into first responder vehicles. Okay, now, when you're reading something, think about it. How objective is this thing that I'm reading, right? Now, I get it. Sometimes you need background information. You need to, understand context in order to gain a clear understanding of the picture. Okay, we agree on that. I get that. Now, go back and look at this article. We're going to do it together. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 paragraphs in this article, right? Why is it buried in the second to last paragraph? In the 10th paragraph, Tesla instructs drivers using the system to pay attention to the road and to keep their hands on the wheel. Why is that buried in the end? Why? I don't understand. I mean, I get it. You feel me? You want to report on the information. So you lead off with the first paragraph. They're opening a special crash investigation into a fatal wreck involving a Tesla. Why is that even important? Why is it that it's a Tesla that it's important? I don't see them opening any investigations into a Ford or into a BMW or into a Chevy GM that are blowing up. We're not reporting on the right things. We're not reporting on things fairly. Again, you're adding the second paragraph. It's saying that they're adding the investigation being potentially linked to semi-autonomous driving features. If it's potentially leaked, why are we reporting on it? I don't get this. This does not make sense to me. Why are we reporting on this thing if it's a potential, when it is a confirmed link, let's report on the confirmed link. But when you put out a potential link, to me, that doesn't scream authenticity, right? So I strongly encourage anybody watching this, please go read this article yourself. There's the title, Tesla's Autopilot Role in Deadly Vehicle Crashes Probed by Safety Regulators, written by Ryan Felton. Go in and read it yourself so you can break it down and do it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but I do want to ask this question. If the driver was not doing as instructed by Tesla to keep their hands on the wheel and pay attention, if they were not doing as instructed, wouldn't that be on the driver? Isn't the driver at fault there? So again, why in that situation, why would NHTSA investigate Tesla's vehicle for its autonomous feature if they're not doing as instructed, right? If I'm sitting out of my window, right? If I'm sitting out of my window and I allow the car to do its, not even in a Tesla, right? Just how folks be ghost riding the whip, right? I get into a crash and I die. And they say, oh, we're going to investigate that car. I'm not doing as instructed. I'm not keeping my hands and feet and body inside of the car, strapped in, seatbelt. But yeah, you want to investigate that company, right? Okay. Next, if the driver was doing as instructed, again, wouldn't this put the driver at fault? If the driver has their hands on the wheel, they're paying attention to the road. I don't know about y'all, but shit don't just pop up on you, right? It's very few or far between in the instances where something will just pop up on you if you're paying attention. If you ain't paying attention, then yeah, it's just popping up on you left and right. And if you're one of these people who's like looking at the screen, you talk about, Willie, shit pops up on me day in and day out, every day. You don't pay attention to the road. That's what that means. You don't pay attention to the road. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about people who drive and know what the hell they're doing on the road. Those people. If you're paying attention to the road, shit don't pop up on you, right? Okay, so if they were holding on to the handles, to the yoke, if they were holding on to the yoke in this situation and they were paying attention to the road, don't you think that they would have seen a curb? Probably want to run into the curb, right? Whether autopilot was engaged or not, all you do is turn the wheel and it disengages autopilot, or you press the brake, right? If you're paying attention to the road, you'll slam on the brake, right? Oh shit, I'm about to crash and autopilot's not doing what it's supposed to do, right? If you're paying attention, you shouldn't be getting in accidents. This is elementary level shit. My 3-year-old could understand this. Let's not get it confused. Let's not beat around the bush here. So my point in bringing this up is this is FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. For those of you viewers of the channel, you've seen me talk about this in the past. This is FUD. This is meant for you to read it and say, oh, I'll never get behind one of these. I'll never get in a self-driving car, especially not a Tesla. Oh no, have you heard about those things? Those things crashing and they're killing people left and right, and NHTSA has them invest. FUD. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. Watch out for it. Make objective conclusions. Draw your own objective conclusions. Think about something critically just one time and you'll see that this is FUD. And if you see FUD, call that shit out like what I'm doing now. Because at the end of the day, this technology is safe. This technology will create a safer environment. Do we want a less safe environment because we're reading articles that are giving us some horseshit? Me personally, I don't. I like to see something for my own 2 eyes. Now, I think it's interesting that this comes at a time where Tesla is, making tremendous, huge strides in their full self-driving beta program, right? And what do you know? Lo and behold, Tesla just released a new full self-driving update the day after that article went out. But for those of you who follow what's been going on, we knew this update was coming for the last couple of days, right? Elon spoke about this a few days ago, right? I'll put the receipts up. So you guys can see, Elon spoke about this before that FUD article went out. So now I guess the question is, well, why would they report on that and then this update comes out? I mean, maybe could it possibly be that there's, I don't know, tech billionaire running for a Senate seat from California who wants unhackable computer systems? Who is this guy? I don't know how I possibly came across his CEO, Dan O'Dowd, founder of Green Hills Software. Wonder what Green Hills Software is. In 2021, O'Dowd created the Dawn Project. A Dawn Project study found that Tesla's full self-driving technology fails on city roads every 8 minutes on average. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll go ahead and put the video that Mr. Dan O'Dowd had released a few weeks ago with more of this Tesla FUD. Here you go.
I'm Dan O'Dowd, and I approve this message.
You are watching actual videos of the Tesla full self-driving technology as recorded by the drivers. From turning too tightly and hitting a pylon to swerving toward a pole.
Jesus.
Watch the bicyclist on the right almost get hit before the driver takes over. Sometimes it seems the Tesla doesn't want the driver to take over.
That's right.
This driver had to hit the brakes when the Tesla didn't understand a detour sign.
Okay.
Here it almost hit a truck.
Obviously, I had to take over.
And here it swerves into an oncoming lane.
Look at that.
Often the Tesla doesn't know what it wants to do.
What is it doing?
Or just doesn't know how to turn.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Tesla's full self-driving software. For drivers and pedestrians, it's unsafe at any speed. Tell Congress to shut it down.
And so from that video, do we draw any conclusions like fair and reasonable? Or do we find that a lot of these clips were cherry picked and maybe found the 1 or 2 or, I don't know, 10 instances where it was not performing like a beta? A beta software. That's right. It was performing like a beta software. My fault. It wasn't the finished product. But these people who were testing this, these are not professionals. Who are these people? How could they possibly be out here testing this dangerous software on our city streets? I don't know. Maybe they pay $50,000 on average for a vehicle, and I don't know, maybe want to take care of that vehicle, and so then that way it won't get damaged when I'm testing out this software. As opposed to an employee who's really going to care about the company property. I think you get my point here. When we talk about this full self-driving thing, we talk about what Tesla's doing. Tesla's doing something that's completely unprecedented. Every other full self-driving project out there, whether it's with Waymo, whether it's with Cruise, whoever, every other project out there is using something that Tesla is not. What is that thing that they're using? That thing is called LiDAR. For those of you who don't know what LiDAR is, go look it up. And with this LiDAR technology, every other company thinks it's necessary to solve full self-driving. Tesla believes different. Because they believe different, they tried something different. And guess what? What they tried is currently winning. They have over 100,000 beta testers out in the wild today. By the end of 2022, Elon recently mentioned that they're going to have over 1 million beta testers. So to me, it seems people on the other side may be getting a bit nervous, maybe wondering, what does Tesla have up their sleeve? For those of you who haven't seen it, go check out my FSD beta video of the most recent version. Oh, that is until they just released this new version, which, I don't know, is, like the article said, it's a release and it's a big one. For those of you interested, I would strongly suggest you go check that out because this is going to change the game, undoubtedly. And other people in high places know and understand that, and they're trying their hardest to resist it. They're trying their hardest to fight it. But guess what? Once full self-driving is figured out, then that's when an autonomous humanoid robot is figured out. And that changes the way that humanity works. So I won't go too deep down that rabbit hole. I just wanted to get into this FUD, get it out there, let you guys kind of see it for yourself and let you make the judgment of whether this is actually, a dangerous product, or if you're like me, someone who's actually in the beta software program. I drive the beta. I understand its limitations. I know that it's not perfect, and I know that it can potentially be harmful if not operated properly. But guess what? I operate my car every day, and with the press of a brake, with a turn of a wheel, I'm operating my vehicle. And anything outside of that, I'm watching over it intently. Because why? Because I don't want to ruin my $60,000 car. It's very simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what Tesla's doing here. And if people would just take a moment to open their eyes, watch videos from people like myself who are simply trying to inform others, and maybe if they inform enough people soon enough, those people will be able to benefit from this information. But I promise you, nobody, especially the people that are watching from up there, want you to figure these things out. But that does it for this video. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, tap the notification bell. That way you can be notified of all the newest content as soon as it drops. I'm Willie G. This is Charged Up. I hope you guys can get out there and fight some of this FUD with me. At least fight it for yourself. With that, catch you on the next one. Peace.